In this second video, I'll be talking about how emotions affect bodies, specifically how women are perceived by society to be more emotional and how this leads to a lack of credibility as well as violence towards women. So, in the last video, I already talked a little bit about how emotions affected Black people in that they're seen as um, louder and more like flamboyant and disobedient. And now I'd like to talk about how women are perceived. So, there's a lot of movies about the crying hysterical ex-girlfriend or the crazy ex-girlfriend or the bitchy girl or anything like that, and it's all centered around women being more emotional than men, and even more so not being able to control their emotions. But this isn't like a scientific fact that women are more emotional. It's more a stereotype that is just a perception of society, because even when men show emotion, even if it's more heightened than a woman, it's seen as an appropriate response to the situation rather than, like, if a woman reacted in the same way, it's an overreaction to the situation, and it's just because she's like on her period or something. So, seeing women as more emotional is one thing, but the importance of it is that it puts women below men and Black people below men from my last video, but by the Darwinian model. So basically, Darwin stated that emotions are, like, if you show emotions, you're showing your past, like our past, like what we've evolved from, a lower, like a more primate part of yourself. And Ahmed quotes from this in one of her chapters. And this is Darwin's words. The story of evolution is narrated not only as the story of the triumph of reason, but of the ability to control emotions and to experience the appropriate emotions at different times and places. So basically, he's saying humans have evolved to where we can control our emotions, and if you are to show emotions, it has to be at the right time and in the right way. But so by society labeling women and Black people as more emotional and less able to control their emotions, and the white male is more rational and functions on reason rather than emotion, that's placing these groups below the white male and essentially less evolved. So this is important because it holds women back from being able to take positions of power. Like, and I have like a couple links attached to this video that you can look at these things, but there's a video of a lecture given by Michael Kimmel, and he is a sociology professor, and he talks about a instance where he came in to give a guest lecture for a female sociology professor, and when he walked in, one of the male students commented that they would finally get a lecture based on fact, or like not an objective, that's what he said, an objective lecture, which is insinuating that all of the lectures that they had gotten before that from the female professor were subjective because she was speaking from emotion, not logic. So female professors are seen as less credible because they're female. And another example is when women were being considered for the front lines of defense in the Army. Rick Santorum made a comment that it might cause soldiers to make mistakes because, quote, emotions would be involved. That's actually not a quote, never mind. But basically he used the word emotions, that emotions would be introduced into the Army and this would cause them to be less productive, basically. Recently, Donald Trump made a comment after his one of his debates that Megyn Kelly, she was the commentator who was asking the questions for the debate, was possibly bleeding out of her wherever because she was asking him difficult questions and questioning the things that he said. So obviously she had to be on her period because, or at least he made it seem like he was saying that she must have had been on her period, and then later he took that back. But yeah, just taking away her credibility as a good commentator, that her emotions were getting involved. And this also, that situation also points to how when a confident and self-assured woman has her own opinions and questions a man's opinions, it's an issue between he's coming from a logical standpoint and she's coming from an emotional standpoint. So automatically her questioning of him is not valid. So also, the last thing I'd like you to look up is Jon Stewart's The Daily Show, the clip, "The Broads Must Be Crazy," because he points out all of the issues with women in politics where they'll show the slightest emotion and it's looked at as like a huge overreaction, and then a man will be crying during a speech, and like a male candidate will be crying during a speech, and they'll say he's patriotic or he really feels for his country. Like, again, that a white male showing emotion is an appropriate response for the situation, while a female showing emotion is an overreaction. Also, there was a study done that said that when only male candidates are running, the media mainly focuses on the issues that they're talking about, whereas if it's only female candidates running or a mix of male and female, it's more of a focus on personality traits or issues with their personality or reactions to things. So just in general, people focus more on the emotions women are showing, their personality, how they come across, which includes sexualizing them and focusing on things like what they're wearing or their facial expressions. If you look in the media about Michelle Obama, they're always commenting on how she has resting bitch face, or, oh, she looks really pissed off here, when it's just her normal face. But they never really comment on Obama's face or what tie he's wearing or what emotion he seemed to show at a certain time. So basically, to sum up what I've been saying, emotions affect bodies differently, and it's not that they inherently show emotions differently. It's more how society interprets the emotions that they're showing. So if a black man is telling a story and he gets excited about it, he's a stereotypical ghetto black dude. And if a woman is passionate about what she's saying, then she's bitchy or on her period. Or if she's upset about a situation, then she's on her period again, or just being an emotional, hysterical female. Whereas if a white male shows the exact same emotion in the exact same situation, then his emotions are justified and are the appropriate response to the situation. The consequence of this is that these two groups lose their credibility and they're seen as below the white male. And when it comes to kind of a standoff between, in an argument, like between a white male and anyone other than a white male, basically, then it's seen as logic versus emotion. And obviously the white male is going to win, or just be taken as more credible because of this.